Hi everyone. Today we are going to see IBM API Connect multi-site HA deployment, which is active and passive. I'm Gautam from IBM India Software Labs. Going to walk you through the demo of API Connect multi-site HA. Before we get into the demo, just want to talk about the deployment topology. This is just a representation, so you cannot consider this for production deployment. So this is just to explain this concept. I have created the simple representation. So when we say multi-site, it has to be in a two different site, maybe closer to each other, but geographically disjointed. Okay. Uh, as you all know, it consists of four components, and we have to have this APIC Connect installed on Red Hat OpenShift, and you have this entire active site up and running. Similarly, you should also have a passive site with all the components up and running. And please make sure that while you are installing, you have to make use of HA proxy. Without that, you cannot achieve multi-site HA deployment. So I have a GitHub where I have provided the complete instruction of how to install and configure. But just to explain, when we say active and passive, always this active site will replicate the data to the passive site. So only portal and management is replicated, not the analytics. In case of failover, it has to be a manual failover that we need to make this site as a passive, and then passive site will become active. So when this happens, again, the cross replication will happen. So while deploying it for these two components, we need to provide the replication endpoint. What is the replication endpoint of the passive site? So as a part of the portal and management component configuration, we need to provide this uh, replication endpoint. Okay, and I have provided this complete instruction on how to set up, install, and configure in this GitHub locations. Okay, um, I will provide this URL, maybe in the description, or after I publish, you will find this URL, or you can search for active multi-site HA with my name, so you'll be able to get it. So you can follow this instructions. Prerequisite is you have to have two Red Hat OpenShift cluster 4.9 or later. You have to have a HA proxy node and tools like OpenShift OCCLI and YAML query, YQ, CLI, etc. So you can follow this, and but I'm going to show you the demo now. What is how this active passive can be realized. Okay, so I have two OpenShift clusters running on IBM Cloud. Um, I have chosen both the cluster to be on the same zone, London, so that the replication can happen quickly. And here I have already installed and configured the API Connect. If you follow the instructions, this is the crucial place, because I have reached this point. Okay, so you will be able to reach this point if you follow this instruction clearly. Coming back to this cluster, this is active site. I want to show you the differences from the number of components that has been deployed and in active state. Take a look at the number of components that has been deployed in active state. There are 19 deployments. In passive site, it is only 9 deployments, which means the passive site will not be active and you won't be able to access it because of the passive state. So always the active state will be in action. Okay. Coming back to this, configure email server topology. This must be done. I assume you guys are well aware of how to do that. I can show you quickly the locations. Like, this is the cloud manager. First thing that you need to come and do it is the resource. Under the resource, you have to have an email server. Then come the resources, come to the notification, right? Sorry, in the settings, in the notification, we should associate the email ID with the email server. The second. Third thing is you need to create the topology, right? By creating all the services are required for you to achieve, right? In the active side. Then come to the provider organization, uh, create a provider organization. So the moment you create a provider organization, you can log into the API manager. I've already logged into the API manager in my organization. After you log in, ensure the notification is associated with an email ID. That's step one. Then you can create a catalog called demo. After you create the catalog, ensure you have associated the gateway services and the portal services. You need to create the portal services. Okay. So with this, you can have the catalog. Then I have provided the sample API, whether in the city API, you can clearly, you can make use of this. There shouldn't be any problem. And I've already created a consumer organization under this demo catalog called Z Developer, and the Z person have already logged in. But if you look at it, nothing has been published. Okay, at this point of time, there are no APIs. So I'm going to pause it for a while, publish it, and show you the API is available on the developer portal. So whatever that we are doing, everything is in the active side. Passive side, I mean, we just installed it. Nothing has happened. So we will ensure that the replication will take care of replicating the management component, whatever that you are seeing here as a part of the management component and the portal component will be available after you making this site active and this site passive. So as of now, we are here in the active side. Okay. Coming back to the API manager, I'm going to pause it for a while. I'll finish the deployment into this API into the demo catalog, and we'll come back. Just I'm going to pause it for a while. Okay, so a product has been published. I've also created an app and subscribed to this product called a demo app, and it is already subscribed. Okay, so if you look at the subscription, it is already in place. Okay, the product is already subscribed. Let's go and test it. Okay, the API to be tested is, let's get that zip code. By passing the zip code, we can get the weather. So this is the URL. So I'm going to make a curl request. Okay, it works. So I'm using, YQ to parse it. It's a pretty print. So this works. So we are good. So we are not going to, demonstrate what is the capabilities of API connector. Not here, the active and passive side. So now this site is active, up and running. Now, what is the next step? So how are we going to test the failover condition? So, I want to make this site as a passive and this site will become an active. Let's do that. So we have reached this point. Now let's do a failover testing. Log into the data center A and get the management cluster details. Okay, logging into the management cluster. I'm logging into the active cluster and get the status of management component. It's active. Let's make it passive. So under multi-site HA, you need to make the changes. Okay. Then comes portal. We'll edit the portal also to active to passive. Search for active. Okay, fair enough. The moment you do so, you will start seeing some changes here. See, it will tone down. The number of deployment will be reduced. So when we are making this passive, then we have to make this as an active. So we have to have some site up and running. So now log into the passive site, which is data center B, and you make the changes from passive to active. I told you in the beginning, it is a manual switchover. There is no automatic, so you have to do it manually. Okay. And in the data center B, I'm editing here. This will become passive or progressive to passive. So edit, search for passive. Okay. And make it active. Then comes portal component in data center B. Search for passive and active. When you do so, it will take some time. At least, I'm going to set aside at least 10 to 15 minutes. I'll pause it and then come back. After we finish this, then this is the crucial, because whatever the changes that we have been done is on the active side. When we switch over the site status, like active to passive, passive to active, then we should be able to continue from where we have left, which means we will log into the newly came up site, which is active to passive, and check whether everything is in place, and you are able to log in and test the scenarios. So that is the key. Okay, I'm going to pass it for a while.
Okay, so I have almost waited for about 15 minutes. Now let us take a look. So this was the active site and this was a passive earlier. After we make changes, this has become passive and this has become active. Now look at the number of components. This is 19 deployments in the currently active site and 9 deployments in the passive site. With the first thing that you need to info. The second thing that you need to do is, you know, you need to update the HA proxy to the currently active site. So I have made changes, like this is what it is. Okay, what is the next thing? Because this previously this was enabled, this was disabled, then I swapped it. Okay, so that it will go to the data center B. Okay, so now this change is being made. Log into admin console to validate. Coming back, I had this, when I tried this is failed because I did not make the changes. So now let me retry. So now it should come up. Let's give it a minute. Or we can go from here. Okay, so one thing that you need to do after making a changes in HA proxies, you restart the HA proxy service. Okay. Okay, so now I can log into admin console. While that is coming up, let us refresh this API manager and check. So be it portal also. Okay, now this is coming up. Let's try it. This should come up. Okay, takes time, but it comes up. So the thing is, we should be able to see all the data that has been created in the active site. So look at the topology. The reason for me to create all these things to validate whether all the information is get replicated or not. So everything is created. Resources under notification, should see the email server. So this is good. In API Connect, we have APIs, and we also have the demo catalogs. All right. And coming back to developer portal, we should be able to see the consumer organization, the organization created application, etc. Logging in. Okay, so we are able to see the product and see whether we have the app is also the demo app. Yes, we do have, and the subscription is also intact, right? Can we test it and check? Let's do that. Awesome. So now we are back in action. So now we are able to test active and passive multi-site HA deployment. Okay. So coming back to this, we are able to log into admin console, API manager, dev portal, and we are able to test the APIs. Okay, with this, I would like to conclude the demo by saying thanks to all of you who have taken your time out and watching this. And please make a note, consider this for learning purpose or demo purpose. So do not consider this topology that I have represented here for production deployment. Thank you once again. Have a wonderful day. Thank you.